Hi friends, welcome back to a new episode of Sugar Folk Homemade, my podcast where I talk about all the things I've been crafting. This week I have a little bit of knitting and sewing. I have two finished knitting objects, a finished sewing project, and two new cast-ons and one whip progress. I already filmed this once over the weekend, and I had to jump over a lot of hurdles to actually sit down and film it. And then when I filmed it, I used my mic because we had the air conditioner on because it's summer. And something went wrong with my mic and it was scratchy audio the whole time. So that was a big bummer. So we're going micless. I turned the air conditioner off. Hopefully I don't sweat to death because I do have on acrylic yarn at the moment, which I will talk about. But anyways, I'm here today and I have a lot to talk about and I'm really excited about what I'm working on. So yeah, we'll jump right in. If you're new here, my name is Michaela and I am coming to you from a small town in western North Carolina where I live with my husband and our 3 kids and our cat and chickens. I think that's it. Yeah. And if you're returning, welcome back. I wanted to say thank you real quick for all of the comments on my last video. I will be announcing the giveaway winner at the end of this episode, so stay tuned for that. All of the comments on the last video were so nice and so kind, and I just love reading them. There were more than usual because it was a giveaway and a comment was a requirement to enter, but I still read every single one, and even though I can't respond to all of them, they make me so happy, and so just a very heartfelt thank you for your kind words and for being here. Okay, so we'll jump right in with what I am wearing. This is my newly finished ranunculus. This is my 3rd ranunculus that I have knit, and I made this one with a baby bee yarn from Hobby Lobby. It's 100% acrylic. I just had it in stash and whipped up a ranunculus. I think this is the quickest one that I've ever made. It only took me a couple weeks, I believe. I'll go ahead and show you the whole thing. So I did make it a little bit cropped. It hits right at the top of my high-waisted garments. Yeah, just your typical ranunculus. Love, love, love this color. It's such a pretty color. And even though it is acrylic, so it's pretty warm, I can get by with wearing it even now in the summer if I'm gonna be indoors, you know, because yeah, we have the luxury of air conditioning, so it's fine. Now, I would not wear this if I was gonna be outside all day because it is pretty toasty. But I think in the spring, this will be perfect for springtime because spring is still pretty chilly here, so this would be the perfect in between since it's short sleeves, but it would still be warm. For this, I went down 1 needle size, so I used a US 9 for the body and a US 8 for the ribbing, and I did follow the directions for size 2, and then I had to actually do a few more increased rounds because the yoke was not quite as deep as I wanted it, which I think if I would have kept it, then maybe it would have just pulled this down a little more, which wouldn't have been bad because I do have a little extra fabric here now. You can see when I fold my arm in, but it's not a big deal. And a lot of you left tips for how to increase the depth of a yoke without increasing the circumference, so thank you for that. Next time I will be trying out some different techniques to do that. The next finished object I have is my Upwards top by Lily Kate France, and let me get it where I can actually show you properly. I love it so much. It's so cute. And my plan to just use one skein worked because I still have, I would say maybe 25 grams left, and it's not even that cropped. I mean, it's probably, I think it's actually longer than this, which I think I made my straps a bit longer than hers, but I'll put a picture over here of what it looks like on. But I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I didn't actually block it but I've worn it probably 3 times already. Even though this is superwash wool, it's not super warm because it's a very loose gauge. I think this was a 4 or maybe a 5. And I mean, there's no sleeves. It's very light. Now, I will say I did not enjoy all of this I-cord edging because it wasn't just your typical I-cord, you know, you're picking up a new stitch for each row. There was a different ratio for that because the I-cord does actually pull in the arms or the armholes. It pulls it in a bit tighter, which is good because if you remember last episode, I think it was last episode, I was talking about that I was worried it was going to sit too far in. But once you add those I-cords, it really like pulls everything where it needs to be. But it was a labor of love doing the I-cords. However, you can't really get by without it. A subscriber of mine did actually mention, she said, what if you took a crochet hook and did just a little crochet around the edges, maybe like a scalloped edge, and I think that would be so cute. So I really want to make another one of these because it did only take 1 skein, and I have a few single skeins in my stash that I'm not going to be able to mix them with anything else. And in particular, I have a hot pink skein, and the only other thing I could make with it besides socks would be a shawl, but I don't know that I would wear a hot pink shawl, but I would wear a hot pink tank top like this in the summer. So I'm toying with the idea of making a second one, and maybe I will do the crochet edge instead and kind of wing it. But I have other summer projects to do first, so if there's time at the end of these projects, then maybe I'll pick up another one, or maybe we'll wait till next year, who knows. But I do really like this, and I've been wearing it a lot to the pool, just over my bathing suit. In the picture you can't tell, but my fear of the strapless bra issue is reality because, and I think I just need a bigger strapless bra and I have like a bandeau type, so it's tight at the top and it squeezes in so much up here that if you look at it from the side, you can see like where my bust is, and then there's like this harsh indent, and then you'll see, you know, my chest, which it doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look as seamless as I would like it to. So I've just been wearing this over my bathing suit to the pool, and my straps show obviously, but it's a bathing suit, so who cares? So yeah, I need to get a better bra for this, but I'm still getting wear out of it, and I do really like that you can wear it either way. I haven't worn it with the keyhole on the front yet, but the pictures I've seen of people who do, it's really cute. So maybe next time I'll try it that way. But yeah, this was in a Tippy Tree Yarns, I forget the color name. I talked about it when I first cast this on, I believe. But yeah, I didn't even use a full skein. I was shocked. I thought I was gonna run out, but I had just enough, and I even made it a little bit longer, or it ended up longer than I thought it was gonna be, which is a plus. So yeah, that's my Upwards top by Lily Kate France. I do recommend this pattern too. I really like her writing style and patterns. She's very easy to follow, for me at least. So yeah, there was no confusion anywhere on this project. Now the next finished object I have is actually sewing. What you doing, Cooper? I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see him. He's over here messing with my yarn. I guess he's gonna take a nap on it. Okay, so the next finished project I have is actually a sewing project. What is going on with my hair right here? Okay. It is a sewing project, and how this happened was I follow Rosary Apparel on Instagram, and she is a sewing pattern designer, and she had posted a picture of this pinafore dress that she made, and it was so cute and just casual and looked easy enough. So I watched her tutorial video that goes along with the pattern. I did not purchase the pattern, but I watched her tutorial, and I used a dress that I like the fit of to cut out some pieces, or to cut out at least the bodice, and followed her tutorial to make a pinafore dress with this fabric that a subscriber gifted to me a couple Christmases ago. So this is what it ended up like. You can see we've got, I actually did an interfacing on the bodice, which was a first for me, but following her tutorial was amazing. I'm definitely going to make more of these dresses when I acquire more fabric because it's the most professional looking sewn garment that I've ever made. But anyways, so I followed her pattern, or followed her tutorial with my own pattern pieces, and when I tried it on, the neckline was too wide. It fit, but the straps sat on the edge of my shoulders. Now I do have a very narrow shoulder span. So this is not uncommon for me, even in clothes that I buy. It seems like a lot of times the shoulders are not in the right place, especially things with puff sleeves. The puff always sits like down here. It never is where it should be. So I'm always weary of that kind of garment. But I don't really know what happened to make, because I traced almost exactly a dress that I love the fit of, but somehow this ended up too wide on my shoulders. But I didn't have enough fabric to make a whole new bodice, so I went on YouTube and I typed in how to fix a wide neckline without like cutting and ripping apart your project. And I found this video, and I'll link it below. I'll link the tutorial below as well. And it had 5 different options, I believe, and the first one was just sewing some elastic down the front, and it kind of pulls it in, you know, to make the neckline less wide. And it gives this almost like elegant look. So that's what I did. You can see the elastic on the inside. And I think it just turned this from like a casual baggy, you know, wear on the house kind of dress into such an elegant, beautiful, like slightly romantic silhouette. And I love it. I feel like that's what this floral pattern needed. It would have been great as a, you know, casual baggy dress too, but I think that this just really elevated it to a new level. And honestly, I could have gone down a little bit further, but what I did was just enough, and it brought the neckline right over my bra straps. So the perfect spot. It could be a little bit further in, but where it's at is much more wearable than where it was before. So I'll put some pictures over here of what this dress looks like on. I wore it to church the Sunday after I made it, and I'm not one to like boast about wearing handmade items, usually, especially sewn items, because usually they're not that great. If someone asks me, you know, I'll tell them that I made it, but I got a lot of compliments on my dress, and I was able to say without shame, because this one actually looks good, thank you, I made it, which was a first for me. But I was just really proud of this because I always struggle with necklines and armholes, getting the fabric to lay flat and not kind of bunch, but her tutorial just made it so easy, and the whole piece, the whole bodice is seamless. I mean, all the seams are inside, it's turned inside out, and it was just so easy. I did have one spot on the back of the dress when I gathered, there it is, that somehow managed to not get stuck up in there with the rest of the fabric, and it stuck out, so I had to just kind of sew it down. I don't even know if you can see. Sew it down on the outside of the dress, but I can hardly even see it when I'm looking for it, so it's not a biggie. So yeah, that's my sewn project. I do really want to make some more of these. I would love to make some in some darker fabrics. maybe even a corduroy for fall and winter, because even though they're sleeveless, if I choose some fabrics that are neutral, I can always wear a long sleeve t-shirt underneath. And I just love dresses. They're the most comfortable. I don't know, it's easy to make an outfit because it's just one piece of clothing. I really like dresses, and I typically wear dresses more than I don't wear dresses. But I have so many spring and summer dresses, and I have maybe 2 dresses that I can wear in the fall and winter. So I would like to get some fabric that is neutral, but with not just blank colors, but maybe some neutral colors and patterns that I could pair with a solid black t-shirt, or, things like that. So, yes, there will be more of these coming, and now I know how better to cut my bodice. There's a hair falling off my light. Now I'll know how better to cut the bodice, and maybe I'll even take it in a little bit. So the next one should be perfect. And I'm really excited about this. I can't wait to make more because I made it in a day. That's the thing about sewing, is I don't sew super often, but when I get started on a project, I will finish it as soon as I can. Partly also because for me to use my sewing machine, I have to move so many things to set up shop. And so I take advantage of it being set up, and try and finish whatever I've started. But I really do like sewing, and I would love to get to a point where the majority of my wardrobe is handmade garments, whether that's sewing or knitting or crochet. So I'm hoping that maybe in the future I can get myself a better sewing machine. I use a vintage machine right now from the 60s, and I'll never get rid of it because it's so pretty, and it's still in its table. So it also acts as like a decor in our living room. But it's not the most reliable thing. I mean, I'll be sewing and everything's going great, and then nothing happens, but things just stop working. And I could probably have it serviced and fixed, but I see some of the technologies that these newer sewing machines have, and they look so cool that I kind of just want to save up and get myself one. So maybe one day I will do that. For now, though, my vintage machine works well enough that I can crank out, a casual little dress, as long as the seams are hidden, because a lot of times the seams are not pretty. Okay, moving on. I have 2 new cast-ons and a whip. I'll just show you the whip real quick. My other whips, my cardigan and my green sweater, I have not made any progress on those at all, so I did not bring those over here. I need to wind more yarn for my cardigan, and I'm at a point on my green sweater where I have to sit down and focus to pick up some stitches on the neck, and I just haven't got around to that. I also haven't wound yarn for my Alpine Bloom yet, which is bumming me out because I really want to start that project, but for some reason winding yarn is such a chore to me. And I don't know why, because every time I just get it out and do it, I'm done in like 5 minutes. So I need to just get that done. But I have been working on my Advent wrap, and I don't remember where I was last time, but I don't think I had added the next color yet, but now I have added the next color, and I would say we're about like 15 rows away from this panel being completed. So let me get it turned the right way. This is what it's looking like now. I'm so glad that I didn't rip this out. It's so pretty. These colors, I just feel like are the perfect gradient. So this will be laying like this, basically. Now I am a little bit concerned that before I finish this panel, I'm gonna be using more than half of this yellow color. I'm keeping a check after every few rows. I weighed this ball before I started, and it was 108 grams or so. So I have to stop when I get to 54 grams left. And I'm hoping that I'm able to finish out these rows before I get to that point. Now I do have another yarn that could possibly work in the gradient if I needed to throw that in on the last few rows. But I'm hoping I don't have to. So, fingers crossed. I feel like I'm playing yarn chicken a lot these days, but it's okay. So I don't know that this will be finished this summer. You know, I really don't, because this panel itself has taken me quite a while. And I can never remember which is the right and wrong side to show you. I think this is the right side, actually. Such beautiful colors. So yeah, I've made decent progress on that. This is pretty mindless at this point, so when I need something easy to work on, this is what I pick up. And that's been happening a lot lately because I can't work on my other projects because I need the yarn wound. And I haven't done that yet, so this has been getting a lot of work. Okay, now the 2 new cast-ons. I will start with the shawl that I started. Now this is a pattern I did talk about a couple episodes ago, I believe. This is the woven shawl, and this is a 1 skein shawl, which was designed, I believe, to highlight those variegated skeins where you just have a special skein that you want to show off all of the variegation. And yeah, so this is the yarn that I have been raving about recently. I'm using it in my Midsummer Blossoms socks as the contrast color. You would have seen those in the last few episodes. But I finally got through the lace panel on the second sock, so now this yarn was freed up that I could start this shawl. And this is a Long Dog Yarns in her Outlander collection, and I forget the name, but it's I've mentioned it before. It's something in the bone. I knew it for a long time and now I'm blanking. But this pattern is so pretty. As you can see, this is a textured shawl. This, I believe, is called the linen stitch. So this will be quite a slow moving project for me because I am having to knit the entire thing English style, which is not my typical knitting style, but it's worth it because this is such a beautiful pattern, and this yarn just the color does not show up well on camera, but it is so beautiful. It just looks very bland on camera, I feel like, but it's neutral, but it's very beautiful. There's greens and browns and creams and taupe. It's just a really, really pretty color. I wish that the camera would do it justice. It looks better. It looks more accurate back here. So this is going to end up being like a little knickerchief, kind of. The pattern is set up in a way that you just knit until you basically are out of yarn. So it can be as little or as big as your yardage. Because I believe what I'm doing right now, the repeat goes on and on and on, except for maybe the last 5 rows. So we'll see how big of one I get. The pattern page does say, I think it says 450 yards or something, and most of the pictures are showing a pretty decent sized shawl. So we'll see what happens, but either way, I know I'll be happy with it, and it's neutral enough that I could wear this with practically anything. I've just got a little dragonfly stitch marker on there. It seems to match the color scheme, so that's why that's on there, just marking the right side. And I believe that's where I was maybe the last time I tried to film and it went wrong. But yeah, this is a beautiful pattern. I really am enjoying it, and I have memorized the repeat by now, so it's not quite as tedious as it was at first. And yeah, I'm using the recommended needles as well, which I believe is a US 4. Yeah, because I had to take them off to use on my next cast on, which is you're not going to be able to tell by what I have, But this is the Vilma top that I talked about last episode. So I'll put a picture of it over here. This is a summer tank. For me, it's going to be a summer tank, but also I'm going to wear it as a vest in the fall and winter. And it calls for Aran weight yarn, so I ordered Paint Box Yarns Aran cotton. And I ordered it, and I thought like an off-white color, but this is pretty white. It's fine. Oops. Maybe even in the future I'll try and dye it. Who knows? I've always wanted to try some natural dyeing, so maybe this would be a good piece. I've had some issues with this pattern, I'm not gonna lie. I did a gauge swatch with the original needle, which was a US 6, and the gauge was 21.5 stitches. I got 16 or 17 stitches, which obviously my knitting was way too loose. So I went down to a 5, did a little swatch. I got 19 stitches, and I thought that's good enough. You know, I'll knit. And then I thought, well, maybe I should knit the smallest size. And I said, no, I better knit the size 2, and it'll be a little bit bigger. I cast that on, which already took a long time because it's a provisional cast on. So it took a lot of time casting it on. And then I knit probably 3 inches, and I had it on the same cord, so it's all bunched up. And I thought, you know what, this is feeling like it's kind of big. So I put an extra cord on and held it around my waist, and it was humongous. So I measured my gauge in the stockinette that I had been working on, and it was 18 stitches again. So I ripped all of that out with a broken heart. I just caught a glimpse of myself in the camera, and my hair looks so greasy right here. I think it's just the reflection of the light. The lighting is not good today. It's kind of overcast. So I have my light on my phone, and it shines on my face and makes my face look shiny. Anyways, I ripped that out and did another swatch with a US 4. And I got pretty close to gauge, so I'm cast on again for the size 2. I'm trusting that it's gonna work. It still feels a little bit big. I will probably put another cord on soon and try it again. But if it's too big, I'm not going down any more needle sizes, because this yarn is already hard to work with because it's cotton, and cotton, you know, it doesn't have any give to it. So knitting it on a 4, this is Aran weight, and knitting it on a 4 is already not my favorite thing to do. But I really want the finished object, so I am sacrificing that. So I really hope that it works out, because if not, I mean, if it doesn't, I'll still use the 4, and maybe I'll just knit the next size down, the smallest size. It didn't seem like anybody else was having a lot of issues with gauge in the pattern pages, but maybe I didn't read through enough of them. I'm not sure. Or maybe this is not like a true Aran. I mean, it says on the label Aran weight, so I would think that it is, but who knows? Maybe this is a pattern by Gregoria Fibers. Maybe they just have a tighter tension than I do. I'm not sure. But I do really want this finished item, so I'm gonna figure out a way to make it work. Hopefully it'll be all right. And you know, at the end of the day, if it comes out too big, it's not a big deal. It would still be a cute vest over some dresses, even if it's baggier. It just wouldn't look as good on its own if it was too big. But either way, I could get wear out of it. So fingers crossed that that one will work out for me. Now, I have a giveaway winner to announce, and I did not choose the winner yet because I forgot to do that before I started recording. So I will use the random comment picker, and I will put a screenshot over here of who has won this freckled whimsy hand-dyed yarn with this little mini to go with it. Very pretty colors. And congratulations to the winner. all I need you to do is send me an email. I'll leave my email address below, or if you're on Instagram, you can Instagram me. I will need your shipping information so I can get this sent out to you. And thank you for commenting and for being a subscriber. And yeah, just thank you. So that's all I've got this week. I was doing really good at posting every week, but life has got crazy again. It always does. The kids have been doing a lot of vacation Bible schools, which is great, but it has kept us pretty busy. They're in one this week, which this will be the last one for the summer. And things should slow down a little bit. We'll see. But of course, I'm always busy in the garden and with the chickens, which actually we have lost 2 chickens. We've had these chickens for over a year, and 2 of them are gone. As of yesterday, I went out to feed them, and we're missing 2 of them. Still not exactly sure what happened, but I fear it was a neighbor's dog. Although I don't know how they got out of their coop. But anyways, I do have a garden tour coming soon because a lot of my flowers are starting to bloom. I actually have some back here. My snapdragons are blooming. I've got some salvia, I believe that's what that's called. Lots of bee balm, some cosmos, and my zinnias are just about to start blooming, and I have some bachelor's buttons that are blooming as well. I have learned a lot in my garden this year about what I don't want to bother planting next year, and then what could take those plants' place. Also, the moles are eating my bulbs, which I'm not very happy about. But I did finally get some little mole repellent things that go in the ground, and they just emit this frequency that is supposed to scare them off. So we'll see if that helps. But once everything is blooming and everything is big and luscious, I do want to film a garden tour for you guys because, as I've mentioned, I've worked really hard on this garden and I want to share it with you because I feel like a lot of you are kindred spirits in that way. So yeah, I'm excited to share that. And I don't want to say that I'll see you next week because there's a chance that I might not. I've also really been stuck in some books lately. I have always loved to read, but I put reading on the back burner while my kids were little because I never had time to read. And then I picked up knitting, so knitting took over my free time. But I have been picking up some books here and there, and I am just falling in love with reading again. I do listen to audiobooks too, and I enjoy those, but I prefer a physical book in my hand. So I've been reading a lot, which has taken over some of my knitting time. I'm not one of those people that can read a book and knit at the same time. But for now, I'm trying to find that balance between, do I use this free time reading or knitting? And I think I'm getting to a good balance. But the problem is I create this like schedule in my mind of like, okay, I'm going to read at this time while my husband's in the shower and the kids are in bed because I have quiet time, or in the morning before the kids get up. But then I start reading and I get sucked in and I don't want to put it down, and I go over my allotted time. If you're a reader, I'm sure you understand. This morning I sat on the couch it was supposed to be 30 minutes to read some of this book, and it was 2 hours before I got up because I just couldn't put it down until I finished it. So yeah, I'm trying to find that balance with my knitting and reading and gardening and life. But I feel like we never really find a true balance, I feel like things are always changing. So when you find a good balance, something changes. That's just the way it is. But in the past, I've gone months without filming because sometimes it just feels impossible. But for now, I'm glad that I've been able to hop on here regularly. Doing it more regularly definitely is helping because the videos are much shorter and much quicker to edit, so I can film and edit all in the same time frame without it being too overwhelming. So all that to say, and now I'm starting to rant, and I'll have even more to edit, so let me just end it there. I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you are enjoying your knitting. If you have any exciting summer knitting projects that you're working on, leave those down below. I love to see new patterns and fill up my queue on Ravelry. But yeah, let me know what you guys are up to, and thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time.